So this is the brand new 2025 Razer Blade 14, and I honestly never thought I'd say this in my entire YouTube career, but this might actually be a good deal. In fact, it's a better deal than a similarly spec'd ASUS G14. Right now, it's on sale for $1899, at least at the time I'm filming this, and when you compare that to the G14, which sells for about $2,100 with nearly identical specs, that's kind of insane. Razer laptops never drop this low, especially not this early. Normally you'd wait a year or two before seeing discounts like this. You're getting a Ryzen AI HX365 processor, NVIDIA RTX 5070, 32 gigabytes of RAM, a 3K 120Hz OLED display, and a 1TB NVMe SSD. But before I go on, I notice about 80% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. That's a crazy high number. And so you don't miss the next time Razer accidentally prices something fairly, feel free to hit the subscribe button and like the video. But so far, my experience with this laptop has been kind of great. But I did run into one issue. I don't think it's widespread, but I'll mention it shortly since I want to be transparent. From a design standpoint, it looks great. Like, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It's a clean, all black aluminum unibody, basically what a MacBook would look like if Apple ever decided to make a gaming laptop. It's well built, weighs about 3.6 pounds, and feels super portable. But because it's black, it picks up every fingerprint imaginable. You'll be wiping this thing down constantly. There's a glowing Razer logo on the lid with lots of snakes, and if you want to tone that down, you can always slap a sticker over it. But there's great port selection. On the left-hand side, you've got your proprietary power connector, USB-A port, USB Type-C, this is USB 4.0, and a combo audio jack. On the other side, you have your Kensington lock, HDMI port, USB-A, another Type-C port, and a micro SD card slot. Opening it up feels premium. One hand lift, super solid hinge, honestly sturdier than what the G14 currently offers. But the biggest upgrade this year is the 3K 120Hz OLED display. Now, if you don't remember, last year's model had a 240Hz IPS panel, but honestly, with a 5070 GPU, 120Hz is totally fine. You do get a 0.2 millisecond response time, full NVIDIA G-Sync, fantastic color accuracy, and great brightness. Now, because it's not a matte display, you will get some reflections, but honestly, overall in person, this thing looks phenomenal. Now, unfortunately, there's no fingerprint scanner. I mean, they kind of got rid of them over the years, but you still have biometrics. There's an IR scanner, and you can use Windows Hello facial recognition to log you in. Okay, this is what the 1080p camera looks like. Colors look to be pretty good. You know, they're fine, using nothing but natural light, being diffused by the blinds. Yeah, you know, standard webcam stuff. Let me know how it looks, and how does the microphone sound? But let's talk about that issue I mentioned earlier. On my unit, the spacebar, Alt, C key, V key, basically all the keys around the spacebar, they work, but there's no tactile click. It's as if they have completely bottomed out. They feel flat. And look, I checked Reddit and didn't see anyone else complaining, so it's probably just my unit, but I'm bringing it up because Razer had some quality control issues recently, and I'd hate to see that trend continue, especially when most of the other things about this laptop are actually really good. Aside from that, the keyboard has the same layout as before with full per key RGB lighting. It's not as clicky as the Razer Blade 16, but it's still comfortable to type on. The glass trackpad feels smooth and precise, even though I wish it was haptic instead of mechanical given the price. Also, something worse than the keyboard problem is the sticker placement. There is only one sticker on here, the THX sticker, which the sticker guy did a fantastic job. It's super straight. But this sticker, the AMD sticker, is gone. Like, this is how I got the laptop. The only explanation that I have is that someone at customs opened up the box and stole it. But we got to get into performance because that's where this laptop really shines. But there is one thing I kind of don't like. You can't configure it with an RTX 5070 Ti. That GPU would have been perfect for this laptop. The 5070 is still good, but it's not a huge upgrade over last year's 4070. Honestly, you could go for the 5060, save a few $100 without losing much real world performance. That said, the 5070 inside this machine performs as well as a 5070 possibly can. Pair with an HX365 and you're getting excellent gaming performance. Not quite as strong as the G14's HX370, but still very capable. Razer clearly tuned it for optimal gaming balance. Now it does run at 115 watts TGP with dynamic boost, which is solid for a 14-inch chassis, but down from the 140 watts that was offered last year. Just don't expect to play every new AAA title at native 3K. You'll want to drop down to 2560 by 1600 or even 1920 by 1200 for smoother performance. Lighter games like Overwatch run beautifully at 3K, but something like Black Myth Wukong will need frame generation enabled to stay smooth. But fan noise, surprisingly good. It's quieter than most 14-inch gaming laptops. Even under load, it stays in the low 50 decibel range, which is a huge improvement. On balance mode, it's still pretty chill, and silent mode is, well, pretty silent. Perfect if you're bringing this into a class or meeting. The thermals are fantastic too. Thanks to the vapor chamber cooler, it stays in the 70s under load, while most other laptops with similar specs hover in the 80s. Look, it's impressive, and it makes me wonder if this chassis could have handled the 5070 Ti after all. They also upgraded the speakers, which now have 6 speakers inside of here, and the sound quality is noticeably fuller. I'm gonna do a little test compared to the G14, and you guys let me know which one sounds better. So getting in, super easy, just remove a bunch of screws, and look, you have that beautiful vapor chamber cooler. The downfall to this is that RAM is no longer upgradable. So whatever model you buy, make sure you get the RAM that you're gonna stick with for a very long time. 2 big fans, only 1 drive. This is obviously swappable, so if you want something bigger, you can swap this out down the road. And the Wi-Fi card is swappable, but I don't think you'll need to do that anytime soon. The battery is 72 watt hours, which is a pretty good size for a 14-inch gaming laptop. And I was getting about 7 hours and 31 minutes before needing to charge. So look, this laptop for $1899 is worth it, as long as no one else has experienced the same keyboard issue that I experienced. You could probably even justify spending a little bit less and getting the 5060 version instead, because you're gonna have a very similar experience. For this price, at the moment, I would pick this over the G14 any day of the week. It's just a more refined product. But if this ever goes back up to the $2,400 price point that it was a few days ago, then the G14 becomes the better buy. It just really depends on the day and the deals that are being offered. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown and this review, don't forget to subscribe, because the day I say something positive about Razer pricing might never happen again.